Hey guys, the Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews. And got done watching these movies a couple days ago, and I figured I would get on here and give them some reviews. I did discuss them before, did quite a few reviews in these movies. A lot of those reviews are not up anymore, but those videos are all old and the quality's pretty low, so I did cover these movies before. But I rewatched them again, and I really want to talk about Evil Dead again because I'm a big fan of this series. I mean, me and the original Evil Dead go way back. I mean, this was one of those horror films that when I first seen it, really kickstarted my love for the horror genre. And today's film we're talking about is, of course, the original Evil Dead, which is part of this two-pack. Um, which is a really good deal at Walmart. The first movie looks amazing remastered. I mean, I've seen the first movie on DVD and VHS, and just really how much they cleaned up the first film really is amazing. It looked clear, certain shots looked really cleaned up, very little film grain in there. Got out as much as they could have, and really impressive looking version of the movie. And plus, what I love about these versions of the films, both versions, is that they fix certain things. They fix certain bloopers, or they edit the films, make them look a little bit better, like as far as taking out, strings and wires and stuff like that. Any of the effects that stick out, they try to fix those effects, which is pretty cool. But the first movie doesn't really have any features, which is a shame. But the Blu-ray quality of the first movie does look really good. And plus, there is a documentary on YouTube that you can find for the first movie. Evil Dead 2, though, not only does it look amazing and sound amazing, but the features for Evil Dead 2 is crazy. Because you've got documentaries, commentary, still galleries. You've got featurettes, behind the scenes. You've got trailer galleries, all kinds of stuff for Evil Dead 2. So the Evil Dead 2 is stacked, and plus they both look really great on Blu-ray. But the first Evil Dead, which we're talking about today, came out in 1981. Technically, I think it was because it took a while for it to actually get distributed. I think how it goes is it was completed in the late 70s and didn't get released in theaters till 81. And didn't get distributed until 83 by New Line Cinema. So it took a minute for Evil Dead to get out there. But yeah, it gets 7.59, directed by, of course, Sam Raimi, who going to have a really amazing career after this. I really love all of Sam Raimi's movies. I mean, I love Spider-Man movies. I even love that movie, Oz the Great and Powerful. I think that was a pretty good one, too. Of course, Darkman. Really big fan of Darkman. But yeah, the first Evil Dead, which we're going to be talking about today, me and this movie go way back. I remember seeing this movie when I was a kid. Got a box of VHS tapes, just a bunch of random VHS tapes, and what was in there was like Star Wars, a lot of action movies, and a few horror films. And Evil Dead 1 was in there. And that was how I seen the first Evil Dead, was on VHS. And man, it really blew me away. Just the special effects, how violent it is, how crazy the gore effects are. Just really, really crazy movie. And as a kid, it really freaked me out. This was definitely one of the first more gory films I had seen. And just one of those movies that really made me go like, wow, look at all these special effects. Look at all these camera angles. Look at all these good direction techniques, and really notice a lot of that stuff in this movie. And yeah, the first Evil Dead, today we're talking about that. The first Evil Dead, classic. I mean, masterpiece. What more can I say about it? The story is very basic. You have Ash and his friends. They're going to go out to the woods, I think rural Tennessee area. They go out into the woods. They find a cabin, very spooky looking cabin. They find the Book of the Dead. And they summon demons. They end up summoning these demons because a tape recorder there that speaks this language, this ancient language that resurrects the demons. And one by one, each teen is possessed by a demon. And the teens are kind of forced to kill each other. Classic story, very original story. This has been inspiring other horror films for generations. I mean, there's always those horror films like about teenagers going to the cabin in the woods, and whether it be Cabin Fever or Cabin in the Woods, that movie. A lot of movies have dealt with the same or similar kind of plot. So very basic plot, very simple plot, but a very classic storyline as well. And of course, the production history of this movie. I mean, this movie was very hard to make, made with very little money and very little time. But it just goes to show, man, that you don't need, $50 million to make a good horror film. You don't need, $100 million. This film, I don't even think was $1 million, if that. I think it was way below $1 million. So, and the fact that they were just able to have, I love the entire movie. I'd say all 4 Evil Dead movies, because the remake I also really enjoy. I kind of it's a weird franchise because I kind of put them all on the same level. And I think the reason why I do that is because they're all very unique, different films from each other. This one's, of course, much more of a straight-up horror film. The second one's a horror comedy. The third one's more of a adventure comedy with a little bit of horror in there. The remake is straight-up horror. So I love how every movie is different. And I love every single film because every movie has cool ideas and interesting things to do with the story and cool characters, and the Ash character really grows through these films. I think the Ash character in this movie, of course, played by Bruce Campbell, legendary actor, not only in the realm of horror, but just one of the best actors out there for me. I mean, just his roles, the way he plays his characters. Bruce Campbell, of course, would go on to make a lot of cameos in Sam Raimi's productions. Just a really big fan of Bruce Campbell. Great dude, good actor, does a great job playing Ash. And when I remember seeing this movie, I was very shocked that he lived, because they make it seem like it's going to be the Scotty character who lives. So I kept thinking it was going to be Scotty who was the last survivor. And when you realize, oh, it's Ash, he's the last one that's alive. Really surprising and shocking moment. I was like, wow, he survived. I didn't realize that would happen. And you really feel bad for this character Ash, because here are all of his friends, even his sisters in there and his girlfriend. He's having to kill them because they're possessed. He's seeing all this shocking stuff, and he's being beaten, he's being stabbed, he's being clawed, he's being tortured mentally and physically, but yet he still tries to survive the night. He keeps fighting, doesn't give up. He still tries to get to the night and survive. Just a really good character. I really like his character in this movie. Not a lot of one-liners, but I like this Ash, because one-liner Ash, and the Ash that says all the quips and the one-liners, that's a cool Ash as well. But I like the Ash in this and Evil Dead 2, where it's just a normal guy going through this really terrible situation. And I love the entire movie, but that third act of this movie, I still stand by as being one of the best endings to a horror film, I think, in horror film history. The end of this movie, where everything just goes haywire, I think is one of the best endings to a horror film that could have ever been made. Because you already have all these crazy things happening, like you've got people being chopped to pieces. You've got people biting their own hand off and, biting through this wound so they can bite their hand off. Crazy scene. You've got, weird camera angles. You've got something flying around. You don't know what it is. You got these, evil vines and tree branches and stuff like that. So when it gets that ending, it's such a cool way to really bump up the energy in that ending, because you have all these great classic camera angles and shots. I love how Ash goes up to this mirror and the mirror's moving and he puts his hand in it. It's actually water or something like that. Cool idea. I never knew how they did that. Just very cool looking. Or he sees a shadow go by the window. He shoots the gun at the window. Or just the way the camera will be above his head, And this is back in the day, so they didn't really have dollies and stuff like that back then, especially in a production like this. They have the camera up here by Ash's head, and it kind of goes like, and he's like looking around, he's all panicking. And I think why I love that sequence so much is because there's no music in that scene. There's no music in the third act besides maybe towards the end of it where he's fighting the demons. But in that whole sequence where, he's in the basement and the record turns on, and that's a piece of music, but like there's no score through that sequence. It's just Ash, the howling wind. He's by himself in this cabin. There's nobody else with him. He's freaking out. He's scared. You hear a heartbeat, and he's just trying to figure out, okay, the back door. Runs to the back door. I love that shot where he runs and the music kind of picks up. Closes the back door. Shells. Gotta go to the basement, get some shotgun shells. Goes down to the basement, very creepy looking. And the blood, just gallons of blood dumping on him. And the record player starting by itself and the screen turning on and there's blood going down on it. Light bulbs are filling up with blood and bursting. Blood's coming out of the electric sockets and stuff like that. Just ramps it up so much, and there's no score. It's just Ash by himself going through hell, and you can hear a heartbeat sound effect. Just ramps up that tension, that suspense, and that ending. I thought was just so cool, and how Ash is just trying to make sure everything's all right. He's freaking out. He's totally out of his mind, and I love that scene where you look at the necklace that he gives to Linda, his girlfriend, and everything just stops. The wind, the clock, all that stuff it gets dead silent, and the hands burst through the door. See, that's how you do a jump scare, man. Exorcist 3 is how you do a jump scare. There are certain movies that I think can do jump scares good. That is an example of how you do jump scares. That build up, finally getting that jump scare. And of course, Ash fighting back, shooting the bullet through this chick's face. Fire another one, hits her right here. That just whole ending I can describe out because it's so good. How he throws the book into the fire and the demons fall apart and you get all this crazy looking special effects. They really did an excellent job in this movie. I mean, Evil Dead 1, of course, is a masterpiece. I think is one of the best horror films out there. So many classic scenes, so much great stuff. I don't really personally have any problems with the movie. I know some people don't like how there are little goofs here and there. Like certain scenes you can tell it's a stunt double, or you could tell it was done during the day, but it was supposed to be a night shot. You could tell certain scenes don't, like, one moment a girl will have brown hair, then she'll have gray hair. There's one scene where a girl gets shot in the face by the shotgun. You see, like, the piece of the hose right here. Which, when I was a kid, I always thought that was the shotgun bullet just launched in her face. But apparently that's the hose where the blood's coming out of. See, but I didn't realize. I thought that was the bullet lodged in her skin. I thought it was always a creepy looking thing. But I don't really get bothered by that. That stuff to me is all part of the experience. And it just doesn't really stick out to me for some reason. Maybe it's because of the atmosphere and the camera angles and the direction by Sam Raimi and just how everybody in this production was putting forth a lot of effort. And for me, that really shows in this film as being one of the best horror films of all time. I mean, The Evil Dead, I'm going to give it probably a 10 out of 10. I love the first Evil Dead. There's not really much problems for me. Again, there are a few things, like you do see a couple of the effects don't look as good as the others. But you know what? For the budget, for the 1981, which was before 81, that's like the 70s, I think was when it was being made. And I think the special effects look great for the time and the budget. And you gotta think, there was no company that helped them make this movie. They went out and they got their money. They went out and they earned their money or they got slight distribution here and there. But they really went out and tried to get this movie made. And they did a damn good job on this movie. From the writing end. The acting, I think, is pretty good. There are a few moments here and there where the acting, but that doesn't really bother me. I think the acting overall is pretty damn good. Uh, but yeah, a lot of effort put into this movie, a lot of heart, a lot of care, and I think it's a damn good horror film. It's one of my favorite films to watch. One of the horror films that got me influenced and, got me inspired to be a horror fan. I mean, what more can you say? It's the first Evil Dead. Join us. But yeah, the first Evil Dead, I'm going to give it 10 out of 10. If you guys seen the first Evil Dead, let me know your guys' thoughts on this film in the comments below. If you have not seen the first Evil Dead, go watch the first Evil Dead, because it is a masterpiece. It is a classic film that you will not be disappointed in, and I think will have a fun, crazy, good time with the movie. But anyways, guys, 10 out of 10 from me. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. The Explorer 4 is out. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next review. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.